What makes a good teaching case study? Many variables contribute to the quality of a case. Cases should be problem-based. Cases should present students with problems to solve or decisions to make. Rather than providing for a single correct answer, the problems of the case content that relates to them should facilitate a diverse range of potential solutions and elicit discussions and debate. Teaching cases are protagonist-centered. Students should be able to empathize with the protagonist and step into their shoes in order to address the problems and make the decisions that they are asked to make. Cases should use human interest and drama, like a story. Although case authors must be cautious not to introduce or manufacture too much drama in a case, they must make sure to effectively portray the human interests, incentives, biases, motivations, conflicts, desires, strengths, and weaknesses that inevitably play a role in any industry. Cases need to be flexible. Cases should offer flexibility for analysis, conclusion, and teaching purposes. A group of students should be able to devise a whole range of possible outcomes and solutions based on the case information provided. Cases should be active learning oriented. Cases should place emphasis on the process of active learning. As opposed to direct lectures, students should be encouraged to learn by actively engaging in the case and solving dilemmas through the eyes of the protagonist. And cases need to provide sufficient information. They must ensure that they provide the student with the insights or the ammunition needed to consider the necessary variables, to conduct the necessary analysis, and to make the necessary decisions in using the case. This includes the relevant background on the characters and organization, the qualitative and quantitative information required, either in the text or in the case of exhibits, to conduct the analysis. Teaching notes. The case method encourages engagement of students, and the vehicle to that engagement are the teaching notes. Teaching notes should be included in all teaching case studies and are a critical component to the success of teaching cases. There are several elements that need to be included in a case study teaching notes. A synopsis, an analysis, objectives, teaching suggestions, and suggested readings. Teaching notes should comprise approximately 5 to 7 pages. The synopsis provides a brief overview of the case that identifies the themes that the case is meant to touch upon. Teaching objectives reiterates the decision points, tasks, questions, and other problems posed by the case's author in the case and points to the key themes to be addressed. Case authors should provide recommendations for the analysis, including the specific models, frameworks, theories, and analytical methodologies that students might employ in respect of the various tasks or decision points. In many instances, case authors should provide types of illustrations of how students could approach such analysis to provide instruction to ensure that they know what students are expected to do with the case. Case authors should provide instructors with potential solutions to the case or the best possible answer to the tasks, questions, or decision points posed in the case without dictating absolutely what approaches the instructor must take. Why use case studies? Cases facilitate an active learning experience. Rather than asking students to simply recite from memory what the instructor has conveyed to them during the classroom lecture, cases involve learning by doing. The students must actively participate in the process in order to satisfy the learning objectives. Through this process, much of the responsibility for learning is transferred to the student. Essentially, especially in the graduate and professional and advanced undergraduate level teaching environments, students-initiated learning is an important transitional part of positioning students for a comfortable transition to the business world. Using case studies in a teaching environment, students with scenarios that simulate what he or she may encounter in real life, which teach students to work through problems and devise reasonable and workable solutions. Cases often also illustrate consequences of particular decisions, illustrate a particular theory or conceptual framework by reference to a specific example, or test how a particular set of problems worked through. Cases are effective tools to develop a number of essential skills on the part of students, including identifying and recognizing problems, determining which data is most relevant to an issue and correctly interpreting it as a decision device, understanding and recognizing assumptions and inferences as opposed to concrete facts, application of theory, identifying human interests and interpersonal relationships and understanding how to address and manage them. It's a creative process of working through a process which can help students reach learning goals of synthesis, analysis, and creating novel decisions. And it's engaging deeply with their classmates. Cases provide an open-ended study that encourages students to think creatively, allowing for engaging class discussions. The class discussion puts students in the role of instructor to be able to teach the case and their thinking on the decision points and how to proceed.